Hello, welcome to SD Game Talks. Today we're going to be talking about a Premier League week number 2, and we're going to be breaking down what happened this week, the results and everything we're going to be showing to you. We're going to start first of all with Manchester City versus Tottenham Hotspur, which was a very disgraceful game for Pep Guardiola once again. I think Pep Guardiola actually opened the Premier League very well, but then I think he's gradually going back to his form of last season. He didn't actually really perform very well in this game against Tottenham. He didn't only lose 2-0, but he was actually being outplayed by Tottenham Hotspur in terms of ball position, ball control, and everything in the pitch. And then we could witness the same Pep Guardiola of last season. That was really horrible. That was very bad last season. So we actually really saw it again in this match between Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester City. We're going to go take a look at that in the next show. Let's take a look at Bournemouth right here playing against Wolves, and Bournemouth of course managed to grab a point, 3 points from Wolves. And the Wolves actually they're not having actually the best team. That their strategies, the way they play, it's actually a little bit very less compared to last season. So of course these results were quite good because Bournemouth is putting on more energy and of course has been a very strong team starting last season until now. Go to Aston Villa versus Brentford, where Aston Villa lose 1-0 to Brentford, and of course it's very bad. I mean, if you take a look at Aston Villa, looking at Aston Villa, we all know, and the players in there, no one is going to expect this kind of results from Brentford, because Brentford has already let go Brian Buemo, and of course they actually really playing with the rest of the determined players they've got here. And Aston Villa losing this game was a very big shock surely to the Aston Villa fans. And then we're going to go down here to see Burnley versus Sunderland. I know Sunderland stepped up to the Premier League and actually showed a very strong energy on the first game, where he won his game 3-0, and everyone was like, okay, sure, this is Sunderland, they are here to show a lot of things. But shockingly, on the second day, they lose 2-0 to Burnley, where Burnley lose, of course, to Tottenham Hotspur on the opening day. And here we're going to go with the final match, where Arsenal kill it, and of course they keep proving that they can win the trophy this season, beating Leeds 5-0. Let's take a quick look at the first game, where you've got Pep Guardiola. This is a picture that we've seen over and over again. We do not expect Pep Guardiola to be the same like last season again, but then he started the Premier League this season so very well, but then the second game he actually really failed everything. I mean, the way he started, I don't believe that Pep Guardiola is going to have here Erling Haaland. This is a player that needs has a lot of quality that he can do. He can be able to get the ball and make a personal move to score goals on his own. But then he can also create a lot of chances. He is actually really falling under Pep Guardiola for the last last season and until now. And also Pep Guardiola has just gotten cheeky, and this boy is very hungry to score goals, and we'll talk about goals, as much goals as possible for the club. But then I think the system still is having issues, because if you look at the way he plays, he actually really is putting a lot of determination. So this is one of the players gonna talk about Mamouche as well. Very good striker, very good finisher, very good in controlling football, and he's been of course under Pep Guardiola's first category this season. And we're going to talk about Doku as well. All these players, bringing them together. Pep Guardiola, if he's going to fail again this season, I think it's going to be very disgraceful, shameful for Pep Guardiola this season, having all this caliber of players who are very perfect, who are very good, and of course failing. And of course talk about Sauvignon as well. Very good player. We saw him last season. He was very dangerous when he steps on the ball. There's a lot of panic in the defense line, and it's a very good player. We cannot say Sauvignon is average, but here we go with Pep Guardiola struggling to beat minor teams and everything. So we're going to talk about the whole team that this guy have got. And if you look at these three players right here, all of these three players are not up to what some clubs in the Premier League they've got, because Haaland is very good compared to maybe some players in Arsenal. We don't even want to talk about the Newcastle or these upcoming teams that are just striving to maintain the top 5 position, like Aston Villa also. But then if you look at just these three players right here, they are so much good that if they have gotten a good manager, they can actually do a lot in the Premier League. And here On the right, we're going to talk about Doku and Sheki, and of course, Phil Foden, who was once one of the best young player in the Premier League and still has a lot of talent to show, talk less of Doku and Sheki. So I think if a manager has these 6 players, they shouldn't be talking about this kind of defeat like 2-0 to a certain club and everything. And then if you're going to have this and you don't end the league in the second or the third position, I think it's going to be something very, very bad for Pep Guardiola this year. What do you think about Pep Guardiola? Do you think he's just trying to go back to the same steps where he was last season, or you think he's going to pick it up again? Looking at what he played last Sunday with Tottenham Hotspur, he actually changed all the midfield and bringing all the new signees he signed this season. Imagine having your midfield play with no experienced player with what you've got last season. At least from the first day, he didn't put everyone like a new players, but he actually mixed them up with some old players he's got before. And then you remember, if you take a look at the game when he started doing substitution and bringing out some of these players, that is the time that he started having power over the ball. Started pressing on Tottenham Hotspur. But then, if he wants to go back to this kind of new strategies in the Premier League, is of course going to fail Pep this season again. Then we're going to go down here to talk about Thomas Frank of Tottenham Hotspur. He just came to Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs last season qualified to the Champions League through the back door, having end the league in the 16th position, but playing Champions League because of the Europa champions was good for them. But then they are here to maybe prove a point that, okay, yeah, despite the fact that we went to the Champions League through the back door, we can actually do something in the Premier League this season. If you look at the way they dominated Manchester City, they actually didn't just win like, okay, we deserve to win this 2-0, but they actually really played very well, pressed Manchester City. Pep Guardiola was almost lost at the point, and so congratulations to Thomas Frank, the way he's managing this boy here. Actually, we've got here Mohamed Kudus, who is absolutely on fire in Tottenham Hotspur. Now, in Spurs, we are seeing actually someone different from West Ham. Last season, he was a good player in West Ham, but not so compared to what he's proving to us this season in Tottenham Hotspur. I think he's one of their key and most important players. When he holds the ball, you watch the game against Manchester City. This brother actually was a striker and at the same time was a defender. I found him coming back to his own box to defend the ball and then picks it up. And one good thing about Mohamed Kudus is that no one can get the ball from him when he straps, when he holds the ball, and he keeps the ball under control. He doesn't lose the ball, no matter how many defenders are up to him. That's the one good thing about Mohamed Kudus. He actually keeps the ball to himself and make sure he delivers or do whatever he want to do with the ball. And so that is very perfect from him. And Spurs, of course, with these 4 guys right here, are actually doing something like unexpected, because if it's fine the way they play, they are really playing a very good collective football, starting from Mohamed Kudus, Richarlison, and Johnson, and every one of them playing absolutely very well to make sure that they're gonna make their name come back again in the Premier League, where they used to struggle from the first 1 to 3 position, and in the Premier League. It's actually something very good for these 4 guys, bringing Spurs up to this. So beating Manchester City 2-0 in Manchester was not something easy for them. So, and again, we talk about Arsenal. It was almost 200 minutes that these guys here couldn't even score a goal or give an assist. Everyone was wondering, like, are you going to have this caliber of player from Xhaka, from Gyökeres, of course Martinelli, Jesus, and Noni Madueke, and then 2 games without scoring? But actually they shocked everyone after 30 minutes of play, and of course they actually really delivered what people were expecting to see from there. Congrats to Victor Gyökeres, making his first goal in the Premier League in this game, and of course Xhaka, bad news for him, picking up injury again. And of course we believe that they have made a lot of signings that they're gonna get the kind of the replacement. We're gonna be seeing Eze coming into the team as well to cover up Xhaka in space like this. And of course they actually, Arsenal team, really deliver 5-0 against Leeds. Is showing the power, showing some potentials, is showing the some kind of determination, like, okay, we're coming here to stay this season, we're coming here to maybe take the league this season. And of course it was a very good play from this team. And of course we're not gonna forget about some 4 guys here in this Arsenal club that no one is talking about them, but these guys are boiling. We're gonna come back to the defense line where you find Saliba, Timber, and all these guys. absolutely doing very well. Gabriel, they're absolutely doing very well. I love the way they play. They actually really do, assist as well. It's not about just playing. I mean, you find Timber scoring goals and giving 2 assists, and of course Saliba as well. And we do want to talk about Califari, who is very good and amazing as well. So these guys, I think we need to talk about them. When we talk about Arsenal team, if they've got this, the up front is very strong and the defense line is strong at this level and scoring goals, and it should be something very scary. I mean, Arsenal should be on a different level in the Premier League this season. Then let's move on to Sunday to see what Crystal Palace have got with Nottingham Forest. Having a 1-1 draw was kind of equal game because Crystal Palace is very strong as well as Nottingham Forest as well. And we will talk about Everton beating Brighton 2-0, which is kind of unexpected from the form that Brighton was last season, even though Everton picked up at the second half of the season. But this is how it ended, 2-0, Everton against Brighton. And then we're going to go to the last shocking game, Manchester United. How long are we going to talk about Manchester United and the way they play and the way they blame the coach and the way they blame the defenders and the way they blame the goalkeepers and the way they do fire coaches and bring new coaches? But the team is every week we laugh at them, and every week they don't put out anything, and every week they remain on the same spot, because right now Manchester United is being losing 1 goal to Arsenal on the opening day of play, and people were like, okay, it's Arsenal is strong. Okay, and then what about Fulham? This Fulham, this is the team, this is the club that you beat last season away and of course home. And what happened this season after bringing in new coach, after bringing in promising new tactics of play, after bringing in new players? You've asked for Kunha, they gave to you, and you've asked for Brian Mbeumo and they signed for you and everything, and then you're still gonna go get shameful 1-1 draw with Fulham. Was very disgraceful. And then the funniest thing here is that none of these players have been able to record a goal so far in the Premier League, not even to talk about an assist. They have so far, all these 5 guys, no assist, no goal from any one of them in the Premier League. I don't know how the system of play looks like. I don't know how or what the coach is planning to do with these guys, but it's kind of like crazy, where you find the coach playing players in a very, very off positions. Like he's playing Mbeumo, he's playing Cunha, and of course bringing Bruno Fernandes to play at the midfield and kind of like pushing him back to defensive midfield, which is really, really horrible for him. Because if you look at Bruno Fernandes, who was almost one of the best midfielder, highest goal scorer in the Premier League some season, but then now you cannot find him anymore in the pitch when the games are going on. Bruno Fernandes is absolutely off the pitch. He's lost because of his playing position, and you are insisting of playing here Mason Mount, who is not really adaptive ever since he came. I mean, he's not proving it, but you keep him in the pitch and actually really playing Matheus Cunha and Šeško and Mbeumo all at the same time. Some of these players, I believe, they need to stay on the bench and then come at the second half. So when they come, they're going to bring a lot of energy, different kind of play. You cannot bring them because actually, especially Cunha and Šeško, very good in playing same kind of football. I believe that maybe you kind of push Bruno Fernandes up front a little bit and then let him relax and stay back. Some players to stay back. He's going to create chances for Brian Mbeumo, for Šeško, or for Cunha. And then if you're going to bring all these players, it's 2 games already, 210 minutes plus or so, and none of them has been able to record a goal or give an assist. Is a very, very horrible play for I think Ruben Amorim. So if you're gonna keep blaming Andre Onana, of course you've put in like a third goalkeeper. I don't know who you're gonna blame again this time without Andre Onana or without. You just need to prove it. You've asked for these players and they have given to you Mbeumo, they have given to you Šeško, and of course they gave to you Cunha. What can you do with them? And of course Amad Diallo as well, very good, but you're pushing him to the bank, and Kobe Maino is nowhere to be found. And then here we're gonna go with you're gonna come here and bring this and then here you're gonna bring Mason Mount play, and Kobe Maino is sitting on the bench, and then it's absolutely something very crazy. You cannot have these players, and of course don't put it out, because this time around we don't know who you're going to blame, but for sure it's on you if anything is going to happen. I mean, Robert Amorim you need to just find a way to make the Manchester United fans happy. So, okay, let's talk about La Liga teams as well. What happened? Let's take a quick look at the results of the La Liga team this season. We're going to start with Mallorca and Celta de Vigo. That was a 1-1 draw between these two clubs, and absolutely very fair for these two clubs to play as so. And then we're going to talk about Atletico de Madrid, who has been on a very terrible form this season, very, very bad form, losing to Elche, drawing with Elche, of course, was lose against Espanyol on the opening day of play, and having a draw with this is a very, very bad sign for the Atletico de Madrid. We don't know what you're gonna do in the Champions League this season. And then we go down to Barcelona, where they actually did what they love to do best. They actually really did what they love doing best. You know, coming back from 2-0 to winning the game 3-2 was something very, very crazy. And of course, you find Lamine Yamal shining, you know, the way we all expect him to do. And of course, Pedri as well, stepping up this season. We talk about Pedri on the opening days of the game, where he has been on a very, very good form this season. I think he's going to be a very, very good play for Barcelona this season. Let's take a look at the Sunday games. Osasuna beats Valencia 1-0, and of course Real Sociedad and Espanyol 2-2. Villarreal giving Girona 5-0. That was something so good for them. And of course Real de Madrid is yet to conceive a goal so far this season, and of course they beat Real Oviedo 3-0, where you've got some players that shines. Let's take a look at the quick players here. We've got, of course, the man of the year, Kylian Mbappe, for the league. You know, of course, last season he scored 44 goals, and now this season he's already on 2 games and 3 goals. I think proving some signs of unstoppability, you know, showing the signs of not stopping so anytime soon. So of course, winning man of the match against back-to-back. You know, the first game he was man of the match, and of course the second game as well was man of the match. And move over to Pedri, who was a very, very good player for Barcelona. The way he plays, the way he controls that, you know, the midfield, with the collaboration with him and Lamine Yamal is something very, very, very good. I think Pedri, of course, is a very, very good player that we're going to watch this season. And then we talk about Nico Williams, who has been also on fire in the Atletico Bilbao, but you know, he's actually showing no signs of stepping down as well. So Nico Williams has been so far very good in the league this season, as they have opened. He's been so good opening the leagues this season. And then we're going to talk about the man of Ante Bodime. You know, Ante Bodime playing against, playing for Osasuna against Real de Madrid on the first day. This was the guy everyone was scared of, because he scored actually 22 goals last season. He was so good, so incredible. And of course, we expected him this season again to do more, and he has started already, giving the lone goal that gave Osasuna the 3 points to take home last game. And of course, Ante Bodime is one player we need to look out for in the La Liga this season. And so we're going to take a look at as well the first player to score a hat-trick in the La Liga this season is actually Tayon Buchanan. You know, he was the first player scoring hat-trick where Villarreal won 5-0, and so he was absolutely on fire. This young boy, he was very, very good. The way he played was so amazing. And so we're gonna take it end here in the La Liga league table. We're gonna be bringing to you all news all over the world as well. And then so far we're gonna talk about the Champions League that is coming up now.